Hi, I'm here to update you on the latest government support as outlined in the Winter Economy Plan. There's 5 things that I'm going to update you on, which further detail can be found in your client communication. These are Pay As You Grow, Vat Deferral, Job Support Scheme, Job Retention Bonus and the Self-Employed Income Support Scheme. I'm going to start off with the Pay As You Grow. The introduction of the Pay As You Grow loan scheme is the second phase of package of measures to support organisations during the COVID pandemic. It is to allow organisations and individuals further flexibility to their loan and an increased term on which to repay their loan payments. All of the loan schemes applications have been extended, with applications open until the 30th of November 2020. Previously, this was the 4th of November. So if you haven't applied yet, it's worth looking at these options. In consideration to how the increased flexibility works, we're going to look at the bounce back loan as an example. Small businesses can apply for a bounce back loan, which is a 100% government backed loan worth up to £50,000 with no interest in the first 12 months. Businesses can borrow between £2,000 and £50,000 and it is capped at 25% of your turnover. The changes that have undergone for the bounce back loan is that the term of the loan has been increased from 6 years to 10 years, which means that your payments have been spread over a longer period of time, but this does mean you will end up paying more in interest. You can also take a payment holiday if you wish for a period of 6 months. This can be done once during your term. The other option that is now available to you is that you can have a period of 6 months where you make only interest repayments. This can be taken 3 times throughout the term of your loan. These increased flexibilities will hopefully help some businesses that are struggling with repayments on these loans. The next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is the VAT deferral. So previously, businesses were allowed to defer their VAT payments with the full repayment being made by March 2021. This is still the case, but there is now an option to opt in to a VAT deferral scheme, which will allow businesses to defer their repayments that have been accrued this year over 11 months in 2021 to 2022. HMRC are developing a portal to allow you to opt into this. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the Job Support Scheme. This replaces the Coronavirus Jobs Retention Scheme and starts on the 1st of November and will run for a period of 6 months. There will be a review in January of the amount the contributions the government will make. However, for the next 3 months, it stands as the employee must work 33% of their normal hours. Then the government will grant the employer equal to one cost of 1/3 of the hours not worked, up to a cap of just under £700. The employer then must also pay for 1/3 of the hours not worked, but they also must pay for the total national insurance and pensions. If an employer whose premises has been legally required to close due to coronavirus restrictions, the government will pay 2/3 of the employee's usual wages, up to a maximum of £2,100 per month. The employers will not be required to top up this amount, but will be liable for the national insurance and pensions due. There is eligibility criteria that the employer must be able to meet to be eligible for this grant, and this is that the employee must have been on the payroll and included in a full payment submission on or before September 23rd, 2020. Therefore, new employees and those that have not previously been furloughed are now eligible for this new scheme. If you have not been required to close, the employee must work 33% of their normal hours. Employees cannot be made redundant or put on notice during this period. And finally, large businesses will only be eligible if they meet certain financial criteria. This financial criteria has not been released yet, but it is anticipated that it will relate to showing a drop in demand due to the pandemic. The claims portal will open in December 2020 and will probably operate in a similar fashion to the furlough scheme. Employers also must have an agreement with their employees about this change in their working hours, which HMRC may request. Next, I'm going to talk about the Job Retention Scheme bonus. Employers will be able to claim up to £1,000 per eligible employee. An employee will be eligible if they have been furloughed and claimed through the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme and kept continuously employed until at least January 31st, 2021. Employers will be able to claim the bonus from February 15th until March 31st. Employers do not have to pay this money to their employees. Finally, I'm going to talk about the Self-Employed Income Support Scheme. The next instalment will be based on the same tax years as the previous instalments, which means any submissions made for the tax year 2019-2020 will not be taken into consideration. The third grant will provide a taxable sum calculated at 20% of average monthly trading profits paid out in a single sum covering 3 months and capped at £1,875. The fourth grant will be reviewed in January in line with the Job Support Scheme. To be eligible for the next instalment of the Self-Employed Income Support Scheme, you must meet the following criteria. You must be currently eligible for the previous instalments, even though you might not have claimed them. You must be actively trading at the time the grant is claimed and intend to continue to trade. You must have been impacted by reduced demand due to COVID in the qualifying period. That concludes this update to the government support scheme as announced in the Winter Economy Plan. Hope you found this video useful. Thank you and goodbye.